Hi, this is Jackie.
And this is Jeff.
And this is Homebodies Only, where we welcome all bodies to join us as we break down and dissect HBO Max series. And this episode, we are talking about It, Welcome to Derry, Season 1, Episode 6, In the Name of the Father. You know what? I did not get a summary, but let's just go into it.
Hey, it's all good.
It's all good. All right,
We'll work through it.
Yeah. Loves Richie and Marge, of course. They're adorable. The whole eye thing that he looked at it and he helped her. I mean, he's just...
Yeah, they had a couple of nice scenes. The scene in the cafeteria.
Then he gave her the eye. Yeah, the next one was he gave her an eye patch. I loved when
that was sweet.
Marge showed her eye to the patty cakes. The one threw up. I don't know. I always laugh. That
was great. That was great.
It was great. I don't know what it is, and I'm surprised about this about myself. When people gag and stuff like that, I laugh so hard. Like in Dumb and Dumber, when Jim Carrey's character sees his friend with the woman he loves, and he's like, gagging.
Yeah.
That's I don't love watching people throw up. It's horrible. It's disgusting. But that
might be up there on the Mount Rushmore of gag scenes. So that's pretty high level. Because as soon as you said that, I can see the scene. He's like, I can't do it at my desk. He's moving. He's like, his gyrations are so, Jim Carrey and over the top. It's great. He's like it's almost like a giraffe or like a llama. He's like,
I know.
That's a classic.
From this to that, but yeah. So that was a great scene. I love Madeleine Stowe. I'm not going to say I love Ingrid, but she is so poised and calm, and I wish I could be her. Like that whole scene with Lily being in her house and discovering all this stuff, and she's like, "It's okay, dear." Like it didn't even feel like she was cuckoo. Like obviously she's cuckoo, but God damn. I would have been like, "Yeah, that's my dad," and I'm sorry. Out.
Yeah, I like how she's playing that character, and I mean, she obviously has a very soothing voice, and yeah, her character is interesting.
Yes.
I mean, I'm sure we'll talk more about it as we get into this here, but there's. Yeah, I was kind of scratching my head a little bit at times as to like her her motivation and like where she's coming from, what she's getting at, and just seeing her discuss, the relationship. We get a little bit more of the backstory about her and her father, and then we get the scene in 1935. See her as a young woman working as a nurse.
Yes.
And then present day, and now we're getting like, oh, that was her
at the cemetery.
So it's kind of like, okay, so yeah, there's a lot developing here.
Yes.
In this episode.
Yeah, and this is not directly learned from the show, but I sent Jeff a text that they had a different actress playing. They didn't do any AI. They didn't do something with like Madeleine Stowe's face. For the scene from 1935.
They didn't attempt to de-age her.
No, and I love that because I kept looking at her and I'm like, she looks like her, but there's something a little off. Like I was like, she's not exactly her.
Yeah, I didn't even realize that. Take note of it until you sent me that image comparison. It just seemed like totally natural, and yeah, I mean, I don't know. I guess it depends on how well it's executed, but I don't generally like the de-aging stuff. It's still there's always the uncanny valley thing happening where your brain knows that it's not real.
Yeah.
So, but the great casting and she was she was amazing too. That the actress who played, young Ingrid.
She held herself just like her,
Yeah.
very straight. Her movements, that's now that I think about it, that was definitely a huge part of the convincing that it was like her. The way she spoke, her actions with the little girl. Um,
Yeah.
yeah,
Her
and I,
just her physique and everything too,
yeah,
just like similar. They
yeah,
look very similar.
the same body. Yeah, it was crazy. It was crazy. I loved the Air Force Coke. These kids have been on like the happy pills and now the Coke. Like,
I know. They're really getting into it at a young age.
yeah. I loved Rich playing the drums. They had the brush sticks. Like, I wouldn't have known brush sticks if my husband, my husband's a drummer. So those are cool. Those are very cool sticks.
Oh yeah, yeah. That's a jazz staple.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I watched a little bit of after the episode that he had a drum coach because I was like, I think he looks pretty good doing it. But obviously he had a drum coach because I was like, oh, is he really like a drummer? But he's not.
Yeah, I thought he looked. They coached him up pretty well. Yeah, I could tell that he wasn't playing,
Right.
uh, but
Because it was a little bit too exaggerated, maybe, right? A little too
yeah,
much.
yeah. Well, it just looked unnatural, But that's uh, unless you're somebody who goes to see live drummers a lot, or you're a musician, you
Right.
probably
Yeah.
wouldn't notice, But
No.
he did a great job. I mean,
Yeah.
there's been a lot worse captured on film,
Yeah.
so.
Yes. Definitely. Um, good thing he had those drumsticks in his pocket. You never know.
That's right. It's his calling card.
I love the black spot. I mean, it's cool. I was completely anxious the entire time. Just more and more people coming there. And I was like, something's not. The black spot is the name of the place that they were at because you looked confused.
Oh, I
They're
was like, what's
calling
the?
it that. Yeah, they call it that.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay,
Yeah.
that's cool.
Yeah. Yeah, because when they said it in the show, they said it kind of fast, and I always have closed captions on so I could see what they're
Yeah,
saying.
yeah, yeah.
And they didn't say it a lot. Um, and I was like, oh my God, there's so many people there. Like, I knew something bad was going to happen. I was like, there's way too many people there. Way too many people now know about this. Something's not going to, before even the ex-chief there said, oh, we got a tip. Before that, I was like, oh, there's so many people. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. You could feel the tension building there. It was like, oh, so this
Mm-hmm.
is gonna come to a head here.
Yeah. All right. Those are my loves.
Okay. Well, I love the way the episode opened with the black and white, especially in this time period, in the 60s.
Mm-hmm.
So that looked really great, I thought. And did they start the episode out with the scene back in 1935? I think there was maybe, I don't know if it went right into that. There might have been something before it. But anyway, just the black and white, the choice to go black and white there, I thought was
Oh,
really
wait a
cool.
minute. Oh, shoot. I don't think they start because now that I'm thinking about it, I think we see the album. Don't we see the album before? We might have seen a little bit. It might have went back and forth. Like we
Yeah.
might have seen a little bit with Mabel
It,
and then
I
went to
guess,
the.
yeah, sorry to interrupt.
No,
I'm just thinking it's after the opening credits. It went to that scene.
yeah,
But
might have. It
but
might have.
but that I love the black and white, and then so we get that whole scene, and then we get that awesome cut with Roy Orbison running scared.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's the undisputed king of 60s ballads. Like, I
Hmm.
love Roy Orbison, and that's one of my favorite songs, and I love that song.
Yeah.
Um, it's just incredible. So there's like town citizens walking around with baseball bats, and
Oh
like
my God.
everybody's getting like,
Lynch mob.
yeah, lynch mob style.
Terrible.
And I'm just still continuing to love Dick Halloran character. I just
Mm,
love that guy.
yeah.
Chris Chalk. He's just one of my favorite characters in this. He's just awesome in every scene. He's like so I don't know. I just really dig his vibe and what he's bringing to the show. Such a
He's
great watch.
he's such a good actor. He makes you so like I feel so uncomfortable for him. Like he has to be so uncomfortable in his body
Yeah.
with the things. And again, I was watching the after show after the episode, and the directors, I guess, were talking about, like, first of all, the black and white scene. They said that it was like one of the only scenes they shot where there's like basically like a lot of long holds on people, they said, like instead of
Mm,
switching. And they really liked that. They also really wanted to make it look genuine and old, I guess. And they talked about Dick Halloran, like that you feel like feverish while you're watching it, or like you feel him. You feel, and I did. I felt like I could feel what he probably feels, and just so uncomfortable in his own
yeah. Which
skin.
which scene you talking about there with him?
With him, just anytime he'd be like kind of freaking out, I think, like
Yeah.
sweating, or you'd see like things go blurry around him. Even just, I felt like anytime he'd like get up and he'd look out at the people and he'd be even drinking, like he just had to be uncomfortable all the time. Like,
Yeah, that well, the one of the other scenes that I loved was the scene with Dick and Leroy.
Leroy. Mm.
You know, I guess it's after Dick shows up at the clubhouse, the Air Force clubhouse. It's the morning after, and Leroy walks in, and he's
But they're in, I think, Dick's room, like actual, not the clubhouse or whatever, right?
oh right, yeah,
I think
that's
so.
sorry, that's a different location. I guess we didn't see how he got there, but I think it was the next day, and the first time that Leroy saw him since he disappeared in the tunnels.
Yes.
And we get some more information just about what Dick experiences when he has these visions, and his grandmother explained to him well, this is how you can manage that,
Contain
by
it.
putting
Hmm.
contain it, and he's just great to watch in the show, and those guys were great in that scene.
Yeah.
And of course, Halloran gets pretty, I guess, in terms of the ranking officer thing, he gets like straight up belligerent with Leroy and is like,
Yeah. He doesn't give a.
F you, dude. Like
Yeah.
I'm going to,
Mm-hmm.
you don't have any
Yeah.
idea what's going on
No
here.
idea. He's like,
And
I'm here. Yeah.
uh, I also love I like the some of the editing, on the show is cool. Like how they just have some cool beats with editing. I think, like it's just subtle things, but even I think it's the scene with Marge and Richie in the cafeteria, and she does the eye gross out thing, and then she like eats the cherry, out of her drink, and then they cut to the next scene. I like it. It's like musical transitions to me, and then we get. I think that's the scene. Yeah, we get Pretty Little Angel Eyes,
Oh, yes, yes, yeah, yeah, yeah,
which is
yeah, yeah, yeah.
like really cool. The Curtis Lee tune,
Yeah.
So yeah, they spent some money on music probably for this
Yeah.
episode. And then they're on the back roads with their cruisers heading to the Air Force hangout.
Mm-hmm.
So that was a cool sequence. I love that. And then also we talked about it a little bit, I guess, but the scene with Lily and Ingrid
Mm.
was like amazing. And that was intriguing because towards the end there, I mean, the whole scene had me drawn in, but the additional intrigue for me, at least, was Ingrid's asking Lily to come with her tonight. So I don't think we get to that in this episode. We see her at the end of the episode in costume,
Yeah.
but we don't know where or what she's doing.
Okay.
So yeah, those are
Those are your loves?
yep.
Okay. I mean, the hates I hate when Leroy hits Will. Um,
Yeah, of
I hate
course, I
that
know.
part. I hate that part.
Yeah,
Yeah. And Charlotte leaving, like, that was a big deal.
very
And then I hate.
believable, I thought, with Leroy because I thought it was played really well, and that he just is really out of sorts and confused
Yes.
and not really in
Mm-hmm.
control of his
He's not used to
emotions.
that, especially.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, he's having some real struggles around all this stuff with his family, ethically, with his job, all those things, and then you have the wrinkle of Charlotte's situation
Mm-hmm.
and sequestering, I forget his name.
Oh, Hank?
The Hank, yeah,
Yeah.
sorry.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so he's a little out of sorts,
Yeah.
to say the least.
Yeah.
Very believable for me that he would just lose his cool and something like that happens.
Yeah. He never had the fear for himself or his life. Now he has the fear for his family,
Yeah,
which he probably never felt before because he was a military guy and always had them in a safe place.
right.
And I do love how she was like, "You put your hands on our boy." Like she's just like, I mean, I hope that was realistic. I hate to say this for back then, for a wife like standing up to their husband about that, but they have a different kind of relationship than a lot of these, I think, couples from back then. She's very strong, very headstrong
Yeah, yeah. She's doesn't come across as your typical
housewife.
mid-century American housewife. Yeah,
No,
that's like,
no. Um, I hated the lynch mob. I just hated that whole thing. Like I
yeah,
was uneasy when, when at the black spot and everybody's like starting to come. And like I said, more people were coming. I was like, something's not good. But that I didn't expect. And so, of course, I hated that part. So it'll be interesting that it ended that way. So we'll see how it starts.
yeah. So that all begins in the bar, the town bar, and all you got
Mm-hmm.
all the whiteys drinking
The
booze
way.
and
Yep.
eating pickled eggs and
Oh, God.
uh I mean, I like a pickled egg, I'm not gonna lie, but not in this show.
I've never had one.
I don't yeah, they're good, but yeah, I don't want to see people eating pickled eggs in this show
No, and
because of
I think that was another funky transition. I think they went from something kind of gross to that him sticking his hand in the
yeah,
jar, right?
yeah, yeah. I do like that tone that they take with things.
Yeah.
It's a little tongue in cheek,
Yeah,
kind of
it's good.
doesn't not taking itself too seriously.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
so and the sheriff, right? He's been relieved of his post.
So he's like, "F it.
So
Let's do
yeah,
it."
he kind of throws that in the face of I don't
Mhm.
remember probably those guys that were in his office a few episodes ago.
Yeah.
Um, so not in this office, but they were busting his chops about reelecting him
Yes.
based on what their agenda is and
Mhm.
what he plans to do, or the conflict they're in.
Right.
So yeah,
What hates do you have?
well, I don't like necessarily hate it, but I found it to be kind of gruesome and icky. When it ate Mabel, I was like, oh,
Oh,
I
I
was
know.
like,
And
oh
oh,
man,
it was terrible. And see, but that's my point here is they didn't show it. You heard it, you saw the blood.
yeah,
That is the best
yeah.
scenes. Like you don't yeah, it was
That's cool.
again.
That's a good point. I mean, I hadn't
Yeah.
thought about that because, yeah, there's a lot of gore that we have seen, but that's obviously an example of something being terrifying, and we don't see it. But it was definitely terrifying with the crunching and
Mhm.
the effects and everything. And yeah, I was just like, oh, this poor kid, like, like so terrible.
And that was too. She's like, "Let's go." I know she like somehow let go of her hand, but she doesn't seem overly concerned. I don't know. I mean, she was when the door's shut, but I'm sorry. I think well, a lot has to do with her
So
seeing him as her dad, probably too. Like Ingrid, you know, she lets go of Mabel's hand because
yeah,
somehow Mabel, not on purpose, but
yeah. What's going on there
okay.
with the Ingrid stuff? Because she obviously takes an interest in this Mabel because she overhears her, or she knows that she's going to the basement in this hospital, and she's talking about seeing this clown, right?
Mm-hmm.
Pennywise.
Yeah,
So,
that's what piques
but
her
but
interest.
yeah, she's like, oh well, can you show me, or
Yeah.
wants to escort her down there but why is it because she can't make a connection to him and she can't see him somehow
I think, but then she does. So I think that
on her own, I suppose, or something. I don't know. I'm just
I
wondering
think
about that.
that because she heard her say Pennywise, and that's her dad, that's what drew her in. I think this is all completely has to do with her dad,
Hmm.
completely. And just wanting him back and believing that he is somehow trapped and being like caught and possessed or whatever by this thing, and that if she can just help him see and he can come back to her. I don't think
Hmm.
she I think she thinks he's not really dead, he's just possessed, and that she can get him to come
S-
back.
so his, but is because I don't understand. Obviously, is Pennywise her dad, and they're the one and the same, or is
I
it
don't
her?
That's what my question is. I don't That's what I don't get.
I don't either.
Why is it taking the form? That was in my thoughts and questions. Like, why is it taking the form of Pennywise? Why? What does Bob Gray Do we know how Bob Gray died too? Do we know how her dad died?
She
I don't
mentioned
remember.
something about it in that he was taken away.
Taken away. Yeah.
Let's see.
Taken away from
Uh,
her. But I don't know. I thought she meant just that he died. So he was taken away.
yeah, I thought I made a note about that, but yeah, she.
Yeah,
Um.
that's the part I
Oh
don't
yeah,
get.
then he was taken from me. The carnival moved on, but I stayed in Derry. I felt drawn.
Hmm. Taken from me, I really think means he died, obviously. But
Okay. Okay.
yeah. Yeah, that's what I want to know. Why him? Why him? Uh,
Yeah. Yeah. So then Mabel dies. We see Pennywise,
but then
right?
yeah,
And then we get the scene, or the scene where he comes up from the ground, and she's having a
and
vision
it's
of her
him.
dad. It's
And
her
it's him,
dad.
and it's her dad. For his voice was so dopey. It was like, "Oh, it's Papa." I'm like, What's going? What? No, sorry, I
Yeah,
did
I
not.
don't understand that either.
Why does he talk like a clown when he's a
Yeah,
person? I was like, "Don't, no, no."
yeah,
I was a
yeah.
little disappointed in that.
It's a little dopey. Yep, I agree. I'm not sure. you know,
How
I
they
was like,
decided on that one.
I
What's
was like,
Bob Gray's voice gonna sound like?
okay, yeah,
And he kind of was scary as a person. I was like, "What the hell is happening? His hair? There's like one strand of hair over his face, and he's like." So
yeah. He's a little disheveled.
they could have
Yeah,
made, I mean, they could have made him look a little more appealing. Like, I mean, as a
together.
dad, even, like that was my dad. You know, you want to see the dad in him and the kindness where you're like, oh, that's a dad. It's like, no, I'd be like, oh, go back to Pennywise for him because,
Yeah, I mean, um, it seems to me it's like he became, or he is Pennywise because he looks like him.
well, yeah, yeah.
So, but it's
Yeah.
I'm more.
Why is he the one? There must be something. Hopefully, we find out like that Bob Gray guy, or as Pennywise, he must have been in. Did he?
Yeah, because
Because
right,
we
she says that her dad, uh, her played clown in the carnival, right? And
Yes,
his
and he loved
name was
children, and he loved.
his name was Pennywise, the
Yeah.
clown.
Oh, yeah, yeah. So
Okay.
why? Yeah. So why did it choose this form? Because he could look like anything. It
Yeah.
could look like anything. It could look like a clown. Why is it Why Pennywise? Yeah, we got to find that out. And something must have happened with that person. But like way before that was when the star fell from the sky. Or no, yeah, way before that. Sorry, yeah,
Yeah.
way before that the stars fell from the sky or whatever with this alien or whatever it is. So okay, yeah, that was my
Yeah.
thoughts, questions.
Yeah.
I have when she says she talked to her dad for hours, like she's telling Lily that. Was that really him or was that it? basically trying to get her to be an ally, and she also seems to have no
Yeah.
fear. She's very calm.
Yeah,
She
yeah.
doesn't have fear.
Yep.
And then, if we're gonna talk about, I don't know. Obviously, I believe Ingrid called in the tip on Hank Grogan.
Mm,
I think it was her.
really?
Yeah, because the Chief Bowers says we got a tip from a woman, we got a call from a woman. He says, you
Right.
know, it can't be Charlotte. The only
Yeah.
other woman who knew where he was Ingrid. So that's what I'm trying to figure all this out. Like
Hmm.
Ingrid having, is it really that huge of a plan? Like her having the affair with Hank was on purpose so that she could somehow corner him so that they distract him away from.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I don't know. I
Yeah, it
think it's
could be.
all about her and her father. That is her. That's it. That's what it comes down to. She wants her dad back. She's effed up from losing
Yeah.
him.
Yeah, well, she obviously is looking for opportunities to find him or reconnect with him or however you want to describe
Mm-hmm.
it. It's very excited, when Lily walks into the house and she says, "Of course it was
She saw
you."
him. Yeah.
You
Yeah. Oh,
know.
yeah. She's like,
So she can't find her way back to him for whatever reason.
right. Right.
So,
I
yeah,
looked
really
back.
cool.
I had looked back at the episode back when we were talking about it, I think, but I wanted to make sure when Ingrid meets up for the first time with Lily in the diner and how Lily says she wants to go down to the sewers. I was like, does Ingrid encourage her or discourage her? She actually discourages her because I was like, I wonder if she encourages her because she wants to find Pennywise.
Oh,
But
okay.
she actually discourages her. She says, do not go down there. So I was like, okay. Like I was checking on that because I was like, is she trying to? I thought that she was trying to get a connection with him at
Trying
that
to
point.
convince Lily to do that, but she wasn't. So
She
there's
didn't.
not
No.
necessarily continuity in that way.
No.
Hmm.
No.
Okay.
Do you want to go into your thoughts and questions? I do have a couple I can relate, but I don't
Oh.
know.
I guess, well, I didn't really write down too many questions for this one. I'm wondering, of course, where Ingrid is going, dressed up.
Well, she got this lynch mob to go and attack the
If
black spot, the
if she made
clubhouse.
she made that call, so I'm wondering where she's going
She
tonight, and she invited Lily to go, and obviously Lily hightailed it out of there. She was like, this is, you know, a loon.
She's like,
Uh,
she's just screaming her head off in the street. I'm like, I feel you, girl. I'd be
yeah.
screaming my head off too.
And then obviously we get to the big cliffhanger at the Air Force hangout where, you got all these, goons that showed up and masked goons.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, I know. And she got that. She really, if she did the tip, she got them to go there. So that distracts them. So is she going to go to Niebolt Street and try to go into the sewers so nobody can go after her? Like her husband's out. I'm like, I don't know. This just seems like such a grand
Well,
scheme. I don't
we're
know.
oh yeah, no, they're doing a great job building all of this, I think. Are all the kids at the Air Force
oh,
hangout? They were all there, right?
Except for Lily.
Oh, right. Lily was not there. Okay. So that's what we have. Ingrid and Lily and Pennywise. And everybody else is going to be at the Air Force Base beating the shit out of each other.
Yeah. And Lily has that thingy, the weapon.
The dagger,
Yeah.
the space dagger.
She cut Ingrid's hand with it.
She
So,
did. Yeah, we saw the wound. Yeah.
mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see tonight, I guess.
What are your? I
I
know.
can relate. Uh, when Lily's looking at that album, that like wedding album or whatever it is of Ingrid's, that's exactly what my grandparents' wedding album looks like. So my dad was born in 1934. I'm not sure. I don't remember what year
Wow.
my grandparents got married, but it was probably like 1930, something like that, or like late 20s, I bet. And that's what it was. Those black pages, those corner, I don't know what they're called, like to hold the photo in place, all obviously black and white.
Yeah.
But that's exactly what it looked like. Like I was almost like, oh yeah, I know. I'm like, oh wait. Yeah, like I'm
Yeah.
so used to, because I used to look through their wedding album and stuff. So that was cool.
Yeah, the film of that time, even, I mean, when we were kids, you'd still have those like, film developing kiosk things in the parking lots of like, like stores and stuff, right? So
Yeah,
you get film, but
yeah,
so I actually never thought about it to this moment. So they obviously they weren't developing pictures there. That's just like that's just like a depot, like where you could pick stuff up and drop it off, I guess. Like that's
right,
because
right, right.
they were small. It was like a little
Oh yeah,
hut.
no, they weren't. Like CVS, when I worked at CVS, you could do pictures, get your pictures developed to CVS. We were sending them out. We just sent them out somewhere.
Yeah,
So,
but the film, anyhow, like you're saying, I totally can relate to that as well because
hmm
family photo albums like the the photo paper from that time just looks different from the photo
hmm
paper that was around, you know, when we were younger in the 80s. So
yeah, that was cool. Uh, I can relate when Ronnie says, "I'm just tired." Like she just looks so tired. She's like, tired of being scared. I'm like,
yeah,
I'm tired too, girl. Damn. Like, I'm
yeah,
just
I was feeling a little
freaking tired too.
situational stress in this episode at times. I was like, oh God, can we go like can we go to the diner and get a cheeseburger and a Coke or something? Like, come on. You know. But I guess we get a little bit of
At the
we get
clubhouse.
the Air Force
Yeah.
Coke and the,
Yeah.
cool jazz performances and Richie sits in with the band.
Yep.
So,
And the two of them dancing,
yeah.
Marge and Richie. That was cute. Cute. Yeah.
Yeah, that was great.
All right. I think that's all
Cool.
I got. That's all I got.
Yeah, me too. Great episode. I'm we're caught up now, so that's
Finally.
good.
All right. All right, everybody.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for listening. Thanks for watching.
All right. Catch you later.
Bye.
Bye.
This is the BTRP Media Network.